Welcome, ladies, to another episode on the Fearless Femme podcast. And you have the delights of me by myself this evening. Can we just take a second to appreciate how incredible February's guests were on this podcast? Absolute fire. But also, how the hell are we already in March? This is insane. But this month, not only does it mark 5 years since COVID, even just thinking about how quickly 5 years has gone, that's, for those of us who had lockdown babies, have just turned 5. It's insane. But I'm not mad about it, because it also means longer daylight, no longer freezing my ass off when I go outside. So we're moving in the right direction. And since it's March, I've been cooking up something amazing that I wanted to start bringing to your lovely ears. So this episode isn't just another episode. This is going to be a call out. And some of you often think, in many of my episodes, I'm kind of calling things out, in the most loving way. But this episode is going to be a real shake-up. It is going to be a reckoning. So if you do follow me on Facebook, you will know that I have just dropped some of the juicy details for something special that's coming at the end of this month called The Reckoning. So more on that towards the end of the episode, and how you can get your hands on the most incredible ebook and just packed full of everything you need to make sure that you are putting those really strong as fuck boundaries in place. But more than that, what boundaries you can have, how to voice them, how to handle pushback when people don't like it. There is all sorts in there. So make sure that you listen into this episode and wait for those details to drop at the end, and the link to grab that will be in this podcast summary. So without further ado, let's just dive straight in. It has been a long ass day for me. I've been on the road for several hours, but I was just looking so forward to coming home and recording this episode for you all. I do have some more guests lined up, but I wanted to spend a bit of time, just me and you. So let's dig in. Do you ever notice how we often find ourselves waiting for the right moment? Somehow life is just going to pause, it's going to throw confetti and say, all right, bitch, now it's your time, it's your turn. I know I've waited around for that perfect moment. I've waited around for things to not be as chaotic, or appointments coming out of my ears, waiting for that moment, that right time where I can say, I can put me first, I can prioritize myself. And it's we get into this belief that suddenly we're going to wake up different. We're going to wake up more confident, more sure of ourselves, more ready. But that's not how it works, is it? Let's be honest with ourselves here. And I'm going to be the first to put my hands up in the air and say I have been there more than a few times. I've done a meditation or an activation guided audio, or I've done gratitude. I've done so many different practices, and I've maybe done it a couple of times, and I've gone to bed thinking, everything's going to change now. And it doesn't. And it's oh, okay. So if you are me, I was in the past, kind of waiting for life to pause, waiting for life to just slow down a little bit and give us a bit of breathing room, you're not alone. I'm just going to say it, you're not alone. You've been waiting, maybe for years. Maybe you've been waiting to feel like you are the kind of woman who just doesn't give a shit about what people think when you do the things that you want to do. Maybe you're the type of woman who has waited around to not doubt or guess every single decision. Can we just say analysis paralysis is a thing where we're just so indecisive? Maybe you've waited around to stop playing small. Being in rooms with people, conversations, and kind of sitting back on the sidelines a little bit. And in the meantime, that life that we wanted to push pause on, it's still happening. Like, life is still lifing, and you're still kind of there watching it like a spectator. Like, you're watching it like some home movie, and like, you really aren't alone, because I catch myself sometimes on this. Like, it's not something that once you become confident, once you prioritize yourself, that these feelings constantly go away, like, because you've got past versions of you that will still crop up, and you know, the body knows the score, your memory knows the score, so it's always going to come up, but it always comes back down to that self-trust, isn't it, and that leadership of honouring what's surfacing, honouring the doubts that creep in, but choosing to do something anyway. That's the important piece. It's not about eradicating all of that doubt, is it? It's like, when we stop sitting on the sidelines of our life and stop hoping that one day we're just going to feel ready enough to step in, like, I'm just going to come out and say it, and I know it's like if you're going to keep waiting to feel ready or waiting to feel confident enough, they're not coming. They're not going to happen. Because it's like we wait for feeling ready and wait for feeling confident enough, like they're our permission to step in. Like, we're not going to get them, because one, confidence is a byproduct of having the courage to do the thing. So it's not actually the confidence you need, it's the courage piece. It's the trust piece. It's trusting yourself. You know, it's like, and I'm not saying you as in directing this at you and pointing the finger. Like, when I say you, I'm speaking on behalf of all women, including myself. Like, we get into that trap of, we don't have the time, it's too much right now, life is too busy, maybe when things settle down, I might put myself first. Well, the thing is, things never really do settle, do they? Something always crops up. Another crisis, another stressful thing, somebody else needing something from you, another excuse or another reason why now just isn't the right time. And deep down, we all know it. Deep down, we all know we've used those. And often as well, anything that crops up where we're needed, or it's another crisis, or, you know, another reason why now isn't the right time, actually starts to let us off the hook. It lets us off the hook of doing the scary thing. It lets us off the hook of, like, having that courage to step in and trust ourselves. So it lets us off the hook and allows us to continue feeling comfortable, allows us to continue feeling settled. Like, it's such a double-edged sword, isn't it, that ugh. I mean, the thing is, you aren't lacking. It's not time that you're lacking. It is that permission. It's the permission to choose yourself before everyone else. And I think a lot of women just don't do it because there's such a level of guilt that gets attached to it, because we're so used to being the givers, the nurturers, the glue that holds families together. And, you know, it's kind of hot-wired into our evolution as women that we are there to give. But the thing is, you keep giving, there's going to be nothing left for you. Like, the scraps. Like, we're not down for that. Like, the permission really is about the trust. It's not just saying, yes, I'm allowed to do this. It's the trust piece. It's the handling the guilt and the feelings of selfishness that arise because you've had such a lifetime of putting yourself last on the list. So, of course, your brain is going to be like, oh, what are you doing? This isn't normal for you. And it's going to go on the fritz, and it's going to say to you, whoa, this isn't your normal approach. This isn't your normal, usual way of lifing. And it's, you know, it's going to throw a tantrum. And that's why we often feel the guilt and we feel weird and selfish for allowing ourselves to do the thing that we want to do. But it is the permission that you need to give yourself to stop making yourself smaller so that other people don't feel uncomfortable around you. Like, we have this, it's a core need, it's a core human need to be accepted, to belong. instead of ostracized and being alone. Like, it's hotwired into our DNA that we want to belong, we want to be accepted, we want to feel part of something. So anything that risks that is the moment that we start keeping ourselves basically as sheeple, like playing things down, being a good girl or being a good woman. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the good girl conditioning, because that's what I'm here for. Like, the way we were trained as women to be easygoing, to be accommodating, to be nice, to smile, do everything with a pleasing smile, to dress well, but also not to dress like a skank. Like, come on. Because God forbid that you're too loud, or you're too opinionated, or you are too intelligent, or you're too outspoken, or too much. Like, God forbid you make people uncomfortable with your truth. Like, so many of us will have spent our whole damn life choosing to be palatable, to be digestible, someone who fits into the version of what it means to be a good girl, of what it means to be a nice woman and not difficult, you know, someone that makes other people feel comfortable. Because here's the truth: other people that feel uncomfortable with women who own who they are, who use their voice, who speak their needs and have boundaries and all of the things that maybe you're listening in thinking you wish you could do. The people that feel uncomfortable, they only feel uncomfortable because you are mirroring something back at them. They're uncomfortable because they watch you, or they watch powerful women stepping up for themselves, stepping into their power, wishing that they could do the same. Yet they don't, because they're terrified, and that's why they become uncomfortable. And isn't it funny how it's often other women who feel uncomfortable with powerful women? Is why we see it online, is why we see women tearing strips off other women. It's not just, like we say, it's jealousy and it's envy, but it's not. It's that mirror. Like, when a powerful woman uses her voice, and she uses it for good, and she uses it to have what she wants, to stop denying herself, and to be powerful, to have boundaries, to speak up, to question things, to have the intelligent conversations, it makes other women uncomfortable, because those other women are still stuck in settled mode, and they don't like it, because all of a sudden a powerful woman walks into the room and calls bullshit on all of the excuses that those women have been holding themselves to. Like, it's so much deeper than just making other people comfortable, but we could spend a whole podcast episode on that. But it is why we stay stuck. It's why you second guess yourself into not taking action. It's why you dim your own light. It's because stepping out of the box that you've been in for so long and comfortable and safe, it risks that judgment. It risks upsetting people. It might mean losing the approval that you were taught to crave like oxygen. But the thing is, approval is not going to keep you warm at night. Other people's validation is not going to keep you warm at night. It's not going to make you feel powerful, and it won't build you the life that you actually want to be living. So, let me ask you something. When does it end? When do you stop waiting for that permission? When do you stop making excuses for why you're not showing up for yourself? When do you decide that enough is enough, and that you refuse to be watered down for another day? Because let's face it, the longer we leave it, 1 year from now, 5 years from now, 10, 20, when your kids are older, when your kids are grown, and you're sat there like midlife thinking that that's it, that's your time over, you've had your chance. And we talked about this with Emmanuel a few episodes ago, where we talked about how so many women, once their children are grown and they've left home, that women resign themselves to thinking that their life is done, like they've done their job, they've raised children, they've launched them into the world, and what's left for them? And like I don't like, it's a mission, a personal mission of mine, to make sure that women, especially such as myself at the similar age with younger children, don't reach that point where they think their life is over. It's like 50 is not over. Like, there's many examples out there, like famous examples of people, like, who was it who said, if you don't do it in your 30s, do it in your 40s. If you don't do it in your 40s, do it in your 50s. Like, I know it's cliched, but it's true. But do you really want to go another year wishing and craving and side-eyeing other women that are doing the things that you actually want to do? Another 5 years, another 10, 20, feeling that sting of regret, feeling like you didn't have the lady balls to just do the damn thing. So let me just repeat what I said earlier. It's not about having the confidence. It's not about being confident enough to take that step. Confidence does not come into it until you start taking that step. It's the courage. It's the courage to take the first step, the courage to take the step regardless of whether you know it's going to work out or not, but you have this innate trust in yourself that whatever happens, you will be absolutely fine. Even if the best laid plan doesn't work out, or it goes sideways or tits up or whatever, that you will be absolutely fine. That's where the confidence comes. Confidence is the byproduct of having the courage, of trusting yourself, of leading yourself. Because when it comes down to brass tacks, you can read all the self-help books, you can listen to all of the motivational podcasts, and I know you likely listen to more than just mine. Like, I listen to one and it's even down to similar work to what I do, but she is just phenomenal and honed her craft like insane, and I feel called out sometimes. But like I said, you can read all the self-help books, you can listen to all the motivational videos and podcasts and TikToks, and tell yourself that you're going to work on it, and that you are working on it, and maybe you're doing some small steps. But actually, until you make the decision to do something different, nothing changes. You will keep playing it safe. You will stay all tucked up in that comfort zone. So let's get really honest. How much longer are you willing to sit on the sidelines? How much longer are you going to keep betraying yourself for the comfort of other people and what they might think? Because let's face it, what they think of you has nothing to do with you and much more about their own stuff. Like, how much longer are you going to stay in places, relationships, jobs, situations that just make you feel shit? Just because the alternative is unknown and doesn't have certainty and is going to make you feel really uncomfortable. The thing is, discomfort. That's the price of admission for a life that actually feels like yours. The kind of life where you trust yourself, where you speak up, where you walk into a room and you don't shrink or go to a corner and melt into the decor. It's where you know what you want and you take it unapologetically. That version of you is in there. I know she is. And she ain't waiting for permission. She's not tiptoeing around people's feelings. She's not playing small just to keep the peace and to be a good woman. And you already know that. You've felt her. You've probably accessed her in moments where you catch a glimpse of what's possible, or maybe things that you did in the past that you didn't think you were capable of doing. Where you feel that fire that is inside of you that whispers, like, this life isn't for you, babe. Like, you deserve more. You deserve to feel more than this. But then the doubt creeps in, and the fear, and that voice that tells you to play it safe, to be careful, to not rock the boat, to settle for what you have because it's greedy to want more. Like, we've all had that voice. But that voice is lying. It that lies. Because the real risk, the real danger is not actually in going after what you want. The real danger is in never doing it. It's in looking back one day and realising that you've spent your whole damn life making choices based on a fear, based on what people might think, based on making somebody uncomfortable, instead of going after that desire. That you actually never lived your life, that you just existed through it. And I know that's like an ouch, because I feel it just as I said it, I was like, oh my God. I'm calling myself out in some of these points. Like, so I'm still doing the work. I'm still walking the path. So here is your reckoning. The moment where you decide if you're going to keep feeding the lies that keep you small, or if you're going to stand the fuck up and claim the life that you know you were meant to be living. Because no one's going to come and save you. No one's going to hand you the confidence, the power, or the freedom. You don't wake up one day feeling ready. You simply decide. You decide that you're done. You decide that you're worth more. You decide that you're the kind of woman who doesn't wait for permission from anyone. So what's it going to be? Are you going to keep waiting? Or are you going to rise the fuck up? And before you go, before I drop you the details of what's coming at the end of this month, here are a couple of things to start doing or think about or even to consider, because no more waiting, remember? So the first one is do something uncomfortable as soon as either tonight or tomorrow or when you listen to this podcast. Do the uncomfortable thing. Just one uncomfortable thing. It doesn't need to be huge. Speak up in a meeting. Say no without over-explaining. Wear that damn outfit that makes you feel powerful. Wear your hair in a certain way. Wear that red lipstick. Do something that feels uncomfortable so that you can start seeing and showing yourself that you can handle the discomfort. Like that the discomfort lasts no more than like 12 minutes once you settle into it. Secondly, this one is a big one, which is auditing your circle. So auditing who you're spending time with. So who in your life is playing small? Who in your life keeps you playing small? Who makes you question yourself? Who only supports you when you're convenient for them? And start creating space between you and the people who don't actually support your rise. Because they will be benefiting from you being as you are now. They will benefit from you being the same as you've always been. They won't want you to change. And start thinking about people that you can actually spend time with, people that actually inspire you. And instead of side-eyeing them with envy, like, consider what it took for them to get there, because I can guarantee they would have been in a place where they would have been listening to something like this. And then number 3 is move differently. So walk into rooms like you belong there. Stop apologising for existing and carry yourself like the version of you that already knows, already has what she wants, because confidence isn't going to be something you wait for. It's something that you're going to build by taking action. So by moving differently, instead of looking down at your feet when you're walking, keep your head high. Like, keep your chin up, drop your energy into your hips. Now, this is going to be a whole thing that I want to release this year, and that is walking with that kind of energy. How you can shift and turn on that confidence and take up space, like the world is your catwalk. The world is your audience. How to do that, how to shift that energy. So when you go out, move differently, hold your head up. Like, wear the outfit, keep some music in your ears that make you feel like a bad bitch. Drop that energy into your hips, into your core, and walk like it's your damn stage. And it might be difficult at first. It used to be for me. I used to walk around with the baggy clothes on, a big baggy jacket. I never really did my makeup. My eyebrows were on different continents, and I would walk with my head down. I would then worry what people were looking at if they glanced over at me, and I would be checking my reflection in windows thinking, have I got tissue stuck to my shoe? Or, like, if I was wearing lipstick, have I got it on my teeth? Did I look silly? You know, it was a whole thing. And now I wear the 6-inch heels and I don't give a crap, you know? So we all can do it. We've just simply got to start somewhere. So if you are ready for the real deep dive and you don't want to miss my upcoming masterclass, The Reckoning, on March the 20th, this is where you're going to take everything that we've just talked about and rip it wide open. Like, this is not for you ladies who are not ready to get uncomfortable and confront some things. This is going to be for women who are ready, who want to take those steps, who wants to make those changes, but she doesn't want to do it alone. there's no more hiding. There's no hiding from this. There's no more waiting. This is just real, raw truth about stepping into the woman that you know that you are so deep down. So all you have to do is ask yourself, are you in, or are you staying stuck? Are you staying settled? Are you staying safe and comfortable? Are you willing to live with the level of regret in 5, 10, 15, 20 years? Like, the choice is absolutely yours. And like I said, the details are the reckoning on the 20th of March. And when you do sign up, you will get my free boundaries ebook, because you are not a people-pleasing doormat. And that is packed full with so much gold. I will drop the link in the summary of this podcast, and hopefully we'll have some new guests this month for you all as well. Until then, keep being fearless, keep being fierce, keep being you. Mwah.